Welcome to my channel. This video is part 7 of our 16-day adventure in France, where we explore the breathtaking Palace of Versailles, nestled in the Parisian suburbs. Join us as we uncover the splendor of this royal estate, including the majestic Grand Trianon, the intimate Petit Trianon, and the charming Queen's Hamlet. Get ready for a journey through history and luxury. We took the RERC train from central Paris and headed to the Versailles Château Rive Gauche station, which is about a 10-minute walk from the palace. Versailles was originally a hunting lodge, built by Louis XIII in 1623. His son, Louis XIV, transformed it into the huge palace we recognize today. Louis XIV also moved the royal court from Paris to Versailles in 1682, making it the center of political power in France until the French Revolution. Versailles was initially a residence for parties and pleasure until it grew to become a seat of government. The King's and Queen's apartments were located on the north and south sides of Louis le Vaux's extension and had to be perfectly symmetrical. However, Louis XIV often changed his mind. In 1681 he broke the symmetry between his appartement composed of 8 rooms and the Queen's composed of just 5. In addition, the terrace designed by Louis le Vaux proved to be inconvenient to the weather of Versailles. In 1678, the king decided to replace it with a new ceremonial space that was even more luxurious than any of the previous ones, the magnificent Hall of Mirrors. Each room was dedicated to a planet in the solar system, represented by a god from ancient mythology depicted in the center of the ceiling. The greatest painters of the time contributed to the work. The key features of the estate of Versailles are the Hall of Mirrors, the royal apartments including the King and Queen's grand apartments, the Grand Trianon and Petit Trianon, which are smaller palaces within the estate, and lastly the Marie Antoinette's estate, a charming rustic village where she could escape court life. Since 1979, Versailles has been recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site for its cultural significance and as an architectural model of royal power. The Hall of Mirrors was built between 1678 and 1684 under the direction of King Louis XIV. It replaced a large terrace that originally connected the King's and Queen's apartments. Originally, this gallery was intended as a place for the king to walk and entertain, a venue for royal ceremonies, balls, and diplomatic receptions. It has 17 large arched mirrors, each composed of several smaller mirrors, placed opposite 17 windows. At the time of its completion, the hall had 21 chandeliers, which were initially lit with candles. Currently, there are only 12 chandeliers. The signing of the Treaty of Versailles on June 28, 1919, which officially ended World War I, was held at the Hall of Mirrors. This painting of the coronation of Napoleon captures the moment when Napoleon crowns his wife Josephine in Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, although he initially crowned himself. This is a second copy of the painting, which was completed by Jacques-Louis David between 1808 and 1822. The original resides in the Louvre Museum. The Grand Trianon was commissioned by King Louis XIV in 1687 and completed in 1688. Initially built for Louis XIV to escape the pomp and formality of court life at Versailles, it was meant to provide a place of relaxation and leisure for the royal family and select guests. These gardens at Grand Trianon are less formal than those of the main palace, featuring flowerbeds, statues, and water features like the Grand Canal nearby. The Petit Trianon is a small chateau built between 1762 and 1768 during the reign of Louis XV. It was initially constructed for Louis XV as a private retreat for him and his mistress, Madame de Pompadour, though she died before its completion. It later became a gift to Louis XVI's queen, Marie Antoinette. Marie Antoinette famously used the Petit Trianon as her personal sanctuary away from the formalities of court life at Versailles. She expanded the estate by creating the Hameau de la Reine, or commonly known as the Queen's Hamlet, a rustic village where she could play at being a peasant, which included a farm, dairy, and a small theater. This was both a place of leisure and a symbol of her interest in the pastoral life, which was fashionable at the time. The Queen's Hamlet was designed as a palace broken up into several rustic structures, or 10 small buildings. It was built between 1783 and 1786 by Richard Meek, inspired by the romanticized vision of rural life popular among European nobility at the time. The hamlet includes a farmhouse that contained a billiard room, a dairy, where Marie Antoinette would engage in milk production, though more for show than actual farming, a mill although non-functional, a fishery with actual fish ponds, a boudoir used for relaxation, and a farmyard with various animals. We spent the whole day at Versailles as the gardens are expansive. For those planning to visit Versailles, make sure to come in early as there is so much to see. Watch out for the next video featuring the Eiffel Tower and our trip to Nice and the southeastern coast of France. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.